Okay, so firstly, with this venue, I think we were in a honestly like a really difficult spot playing at this church sort of place. The floor is very dusty, and it just makes it hard to like move efficiently around the court. And this is for everything. It could be like serve receive, defense, like approach for spiking, and like setter transition, and also just like moving to the ball. A lot of the time when I was watching the footage, like we would make a mistake, and then I would go and analyze it, and I can see everyone's foot just slipping on the floor when we're trying to control the ball. And even from my own personal experience, uh, this just sucks. It feels like you can't do what you want to do, and you can't move your body how you want to move your body because you just have no traction on the floor, and you're always just like struggling to adjust and like overcompensating with your arm swing, for example, because your footing is off, and then like you would hit out or in the net, and it just sucks. Um, Another thing was the ceiling was just very low, and there was just random like heaters hanging down like directly over the court, and we think we're doing a good pass, and then it just hits the metal stuff at the top, and then we just lose a point. And it feels unfair because you're playing well and then not getting rewarded for it. In fact, we're just losing points for doing like good passes and good defense. Um, Historically, Phoenix teams, like their women's teams and also their men's teams, they always win their home game and then they always lose their away games because they're just used to playing at these courts, and then they just everyone gets frustrated, and then when they face them away, they just like want to destroy them because it's just annoying to play. Um, Another thing was I wasn't able to attend the game because of the Jags training. Uh, I'm sure Gary was able to give a lot of like valuable assistance, but I'm not able to like hear what he's saying during the timeouts. Not to take away from like Gary's ability, but from the game and also like the friendly game we just played, for example, I could kind of feel like a difference within the team when my presence was not there. Not to like big up my own ability, but I think we're lacking voices on the team that can like see the game as a whole and stay vocal while playing the game. And that's not easy to do if you're like on the court. So it's honestly like okay, and it's just something that we have to try and work with and try and become more independent as we move forward. And there, I will touch on that like at the end, um, because there were some things that I realized that we can help with that. But for now, we'll just go into set one. So, does anyone have any questions up until now based on like the game? Um, any, even if it's just like voicing any frustrations you had like during the game or things that you think didn't go well for us before we like start watching the footage.
Sorry, what did you say?
Uh, so this is a good
Sorry.
chance for people to like voice any like frustration or concern with the game um, before we like start going into the footage. Even if it's something you think that like you found annoying to deal with, or like something you think that we can work on together as a team, because it's important for you guys to speak up as well, rather than everything just come from me.
Ah, I see. No, I think during that game it was just you already covered it. It was frustrating. Like the venue was just quite frustrating. I didn't feel like can't just do anything about it because we were playing fine the first two sets, so it's not really yeah, just kind of fell
Yeah.
through.
Um, on my side, Liam, and it's what I expressed at the end of the match. For me, the frustration was the third set, and that sort of us coming apart a little bit at the seams and not being able to rally. And I may be wrong, and let's discuss it when we get to the third set. But I think mainly this has to do with our mental abilities. And if we do have time, I'd welcome any thoughts from people on like how can we as a team recognize when we get into that spirit, and is there anything that we can do to sort of recognize that we're entering that rut and nip it in the bud, basically. Um, Not sure, there's that dream solution, but maybe we can all think about ways in which we could sort of mitigate that from happening.
Yeah. So obviously I came in a bit late to the third set, but would you definitely say that like we did in fact get into a position where we're like losing motivation for the game and like getting a bit down and not trying our hardest? Like that's coming back to you, Kat. Like,
Yeah, I think it's mainly to do with the fact that either by chance or suddenly someone was serving better or not, and we just missed two or three bowls in a row. But once we're a young team, and I think that once we lost 6 7 points in a row, there was some frustrations among ourselves, and instead of coming together as a team, we became individuals. And this is just my assessment, and we can go over the set. And it's just, that frustration of, well, on my side, I can talk about my own frustration, not getting the second ball and not being able to help, and just feeling, oh, what are we doing? And when you get two or three times 6 7 points in a row where you're not managing it, it's really hard to come back from. And we just need to acknowledge that and be like, okay, when we are facing a case where yes, we do get 6 7 points in a row, it's going to happen again. How do we get our head back in the game, type of thing? And I mean, I don't know. I'd like to hear from the other girls whether or not they felt that that's what happened. Um, but yeah, for me, that was my frustration on that game.
okay, I guess we can come back to it when we do go over the third set as well. But it's definitely um, understandable, like what you're saying, and there are ways that we can get out of it, um, both as players and as like coaches. There's things we can do when we get into a rut. But again, the most important thing is like recognizing that we are entering that sort of state and like what are the signs of that happening. But we'll get to it when we go over the third set. So one thing I noticed from the last time we did the game review, it kind of maybe or maybe seemed like I was repeating the same thing often at times for like the same few players. Um, it's not that like I'm picking on individuals. It's just like emphasis on like the technique and like the mental space that we need to be in um, to try and like get into a position where we can have a better chance of like scoring or defending, things like that. And at the end of the day, I assume that since we're all competing, it's okay for me to like uh, pick apart players. Um, it's not like personal, and I guess that's why we're here. We're in the game review because everyone wants to improve. Um, but try not to, uh, how do I say this? Let it come mostly from me, and then if you feel like you can add something, it's okay, but try not to repeat too much yourselves because I think criticism towards each other as teammates is only easy to do if we've like really built a good relationship amongst ourselves as players. Um, and we should know like how to communicate with each other first, uh, just to avoid any like tension within the team. Not that I really think it happened last time, but it can happen from my own experience. But yeah, we'll start this. Okay, so even just from starting rotation, one thing I like to do is like, where is the setter? So if I was to ask you guys, like, where is the setter in this rotation, would anyone be able to tell me?
You need to share your screen, bro.
Oh, okay, you're okay. That might be very helpful to do. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. Can everyone see my screen? I'm not on the board today.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, this is 0-0, and okay, so from this rotation, typically, do we know where the setter is on the court?
Yep.
Where are they?
Pass and serve because the lib is on 6.
Okay, yeah, that's one way to identify it. Yeah, lib, so you can find the lib and you know who's next to them, or you can just look at their like front row as well. Or again, if you like do a bit of scouting ahead of time, you can like identify where the setter is on the court, and this helps you recognize like as a blocker or like as a setter how many people you're dealing with at the start of the game. And people often like tend to do a very standard rotation, like setter serves if you're serving, or like setter would be on two when they're receiving. But some teams kind of modify it a bit to give advantages at the start of the game. But this is not so much about thinking about what's going on, but these sort of mental processes help you get into like a focused state of the game, and then um, helps you get into like this atmosphere for playing sports. And if you keep doing this throughout the game, it also helps you uh, not focus on like the bad things. It just helps you think about what you need to do and how to like play the game. Okay, so it's just a bit unfortunate. We started with a double, but we just move on. It's okay. Okay, I know it's a bit early to start really going into the technique. However, I do want to highlight this because later on um, we can see the adjustment and then actually it becoming like really good passes. So with uh, the lunge position, we want to uh, be outside the ball. So ideally, you would want to go with the lunge with like your left leg. It's fine to have a dominant leg and like kind of try and tailor your passing towards it, but would mean that if the ball is coming onto your left side and you want to have a right dominant leg, you'd have to move a bit quicker. Um, but as you see, when the ball is directly on top of the knee, it's very hard to control the ball, and you don't have space to like move your platform left or right, and it's hard to like absorb the force of the ball. Uh, so try and keep your knee driven behind the ball, and then you can drop your shoulder so you can have the right angle for your platform. Okay, so this outer system set is great that we recognize that um, the ball is like not in a good position for Cat to get to. However, since we are there and we know that we're taking the ball, the set needs to be a bit better. We need to get the ball more in front of the hitter's approach rather than like off the net. And also, like this ball is not high enough. So if we're setting out a system, the best thing to do is to do like a high inside set, maybe about a meter and a bit from the antenna and then off the net as well. You can see here that we're having to adjust a lot towards the ball and it just makes it harder to manage. So this happened quite a few times throughout the game where our outer system setting could have been a lot better in terms of the height and the placement. Okay, so this rally was honestly quite good. It was good volleyball up until the last few times where the ball crossed the net. Um, so I'd say for this set, just keep in mind, like, Cat, if you're front or back court, knowing like where your hitters are. So this set is a bit too far off the net to like hit effectively with a good approach. And the way that you would get there is by like squaring off, because you want to go for a back set, square off a bit more to the antenna behind you and push more with the thumbs rather than like the fingers and then your palm for back sets. But we can definitely go over it in training. Okay, and then for blocking, this is a bit unfortunate. However, like if it's not really a strong hit and we are there at a good time, ideally we should always be like pressing harder over the net and having the right form with the hands is more important than uh, how strong you are. If your thumbs are like pointed towards each other, it's very hard for you to press strongly over the net. You want your thumbs to be pointed up towards the ceiling and then creating a ball shape with your hands. And this allows you to shrug the shoulders and push your arms together to really stop anything from coming in between your block. Not only is it better for stopping the ball, when you turn your thumbs up to the ceiling, it's actually really great for preventing injuries to the thumb. Because if you have your thumb sideways and something hits your thumb, only the thumb is able to move. And if you take a lot of force, you can like jam your thumb and sprain your thumb. However, if your thumb is pointed up to the sky and you take pressure on the thumb, as the thumb comes back, it allows your wrist to go into flexion, and this takes a lot of pressure off the thumb and it can help prevent injuries. Sounds complicated, but I can show you ladies in training whenever we do a blocking drill because it is rather important just for like technique and like long-term health. Okay, this is just a hitting error. It's just unfortunate. I wouldn't say anything went wrong here. It was just the contact point at the end. Okay, so it's still quite early on in the set, and historically, whenever we have like home games, away games, like the friendly games like we just had, our main struggle is always serve receive at the start, and then when we like lock in on serve receive, we can just play the game how we want to, and then we just get into a rhythm. Um, just always remember, like it could be like 10 points into the set, but you may have only passed like one or two balls, and you need to remember that like the ball can come to you at any time. So you need to focus on the fundamentals for every single serve receive that you're doing. So you want to like stay low and then read the ball from the moment that it leaves the server's hand, and then the process is feet first and then platform, and then you follow through after contacting the ball. So from this serve receive, I'd say the ball was a bit too high on the body. The sideways movement is good, but then it's like too high in our posture, and we're trying to adjust by raising our posture, but that makes us lose the angle on the platform. The best thing to do is what we've done in training is to like turn the body to the side and then drop one shoulder, and this allows us to not only move our platform left and right, but also up and down using our legs. Okay, so this sort of situation happens for us quite often, where we get a setter taking the first touch and then someone setting the ball. Um, if we are setting to opposite, again, we want to have the ball more in front of the hitter. However, this scenario where the setter takes the ball from the opposite, I would say is quite a poor habit. Like yes, it works, but if we want a system that everyone can understand, this is the same thing as the libero taking the last touch from the outside hitter. We want to be in a scenario where we can let the hitters control the ball to like do what they want. Like they can place the ball on the setter or into a good spot. But if someone's like coming up behind them and taking the ball, it becomes a communication problem long term. So ideally, I would want the set a bit closer to Linda, and then Linda um, hits the ball. But if she doesn't hit the ball, then I want Linda to give the free ball, if that makes sense. Um, rather than having this scenario where we got the back row player taking the ball quite often. Okay, this is just a little bit unfortunate. However, if we look at our base position, uh, okay, so Amy, is Amy here in this call? No, she's not.
No, she's not here.
Okay, hopefully she's watching the recording. Um, but same thing with liberos and setters. The base position for Area 5 is more towards the 3 meter line, and then the Area 5 is responsible for like tips and like uh, hits that go more into towards the middle of the court, and then as we know, the outside covers at the back and in the corners. Okay, so this scenario here where we've um, hit the ball. Okay, so as a middle, this is starting to get into like more advanced thinking. However, we just saw their middle block on our left side of the court, and we see the setter chasing the ball. So in this sort of scenario, they only have like two options. Um, we have the outside that has the space to approach, and then we've got a middle that's kind of stuck by the net. And as a middle, after the pass happens, you need to be watching and looking through the net at what's going on the other side of the court, so you can recognize and try and predict where the set will go. So in this instance, as a middle, I know that the ball will go to outside, and it's okay for you to start moving a little bit earlier towards the block. And this like can be the difference between getting there within like 3 seconds or 2 seconds, and you can then get a better chance at touching the ball. And even if we can't go over the net so much, even a small touch can turn a hit into from a spike into like a free ball, which we can pass and then attack off. Okay, so this was a great uh, hit to end the rally quite quickly. However, I only started noticing this recently. It's kind of snuck under the radar a little bit. However, there shouldn't really ever be a scenario where we're passing the ball and Cat, you're still on area 4. Um, we need to start our setter serve receive transition from the moment that they've hit the ball rather than waiting for the ball to come over. I'm not sure whether it's um, like a lack of focus or like you're talking to your middle a bit and then not realizing the ball's coming. However, as soon as we hear the whistle, we have to be ready for the serve and then ready to move into an optimal spot to set the ball. Because this is happening quite often throughout the game and is affecting the quality of the sets that are going up. And at times where you could get a good pass and then a good set and a clean hit to end the point, we're just having to roll the ball or give a free ball. And it is often stemming from the setter serve receive transition. So try and get as close as you can to area 2 And as we discussed, we get there as fast as we can. We stay as close to the net as possible, which means that the only thing that's left to do is to either go up to like tip the ball if it's an overpass, or we come off the net. We never want to be in a scenario where we're like here and setting with our back to the net, or like we're chasing the ball into the net and it turns into like a very hard ball to control. Okay, so there's two main things I wanted to talk about for this rally. Um, the first one being the communication on the set was actually really good. So we had one training session before this game where we made a distinction between pipe for the back row outside and then the 10 ball for the opposite. And then we were able to employ it into the game here. And then we were able to hit the ball. So I say for Linda, one thing for you that you struggle with is like recognizing which set is yours. Is key for you as a setter, Cat, to communicate as well. And even if it's obvious that you're going to set 10 or pipe, we still like to be vocal on the court. Like nothing bad will come from talking too much. And the other thing being, uh, if we know the ball is coming, we have to expect the ball to be outside our body. And this ball is like within arm's reach without moving, and the ball is not too fast. If we can take one step to the side and get two arms behind the ball, it won't always be a perfect pass, but it'll be more manageable, and we can just give a free ball if we need to. Like as we've learned that um, with the teams we face, it's okay to give free balls to the other teams. Okay, that was a great tip.
Wait, rotation that point.
Hmm?
Were we in the wrong rotation that point?
For this serve,
No, the point before.
the one before. Okay, sorry. Let's see.
Yeah,
Okay, so who
because for me, it was
who
just
served
about to set.
last?
I think
Oh my gosh,
Sylvia
who
did.
served here?
Sylvia did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Cat is on 3. Okay, yeah. So we have a rotation error here. Good, good spot. Yeah, Linda should be on the left of Sylvia here. Thankfully, the ref didn't see it. Um, but this ref was bugging out the whole day.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I kind of caught a weird vibe from him when I walked in, and he was missing rotation errors on their team as well. Um,
Yeah.
in the third set for the last two serves that they won, the last 2 points where we were serving,
Mm.
they made rotation errors both times, and he didn't call it.
He was not the best referees.
Okay, so we got a great serve, which allows us to apply pressure at the net. Okay, again here, we have to be ready for the ball uh, to come to us. We're a bit jittery and a bit panicky in our posture to defend here. If you expect the ball to come to you and then it does, it won't surprise you. Also, the ball is not moving that quickly. So if you are ready for the ball, you have the time to even think about how to take the ball correctly with the right form. But if we're not ready with the right posture and with the right mental state to defend, then we're never going to be able to defend properly. Okay, so this pass is why I wanted to highlight the one at the very start. We can see here that it is going to our favored leg, which is a bit lucky. However, because we've taken the ball more in the center of our body and driving our knee behind the ball, the result is a lot better. And regardless of what actually happens afterwards, it doesn't matter. We spoke in the training afterwards that a lot of what happened in the game, uh, we always focus about like the results. It's the same thing with like whether you win or lose and like the score. You always focus on the result rather than the processes of what happened. In this case, the result is like a shanked ball or an overpass. But in terms of the process of like how we pass the ball, is we're only needing minor adjustments across the team from everyone to be able to get a better result. So don't always let what's the outcome let you down so much, and just focus more on like the process, and then this will help us like build our confidence across the team, um, regardless of like how the game goes. The key is to want to play better with each game. Okay, so this point um, is a bit unfortunate. In the heat of the moment, things like this can happen in the game, where the ball comes back on second touch uh, from players that you don't expect. Like normally it's the setter that will dump the ball, but here we have the middle sending the ball over the net. Um, I think what Amy's done here is correct because as a middle, there's still one more touch, and you have to be ready to block. So then it becomes about reading the form of the players that are controlling the ball. We can see if I go back. Okay, so here we can see that the middle has their back to the net and they're taking the ball with the platform. If we can see from their shoulders and their arms that the platform is moving from left to right or vice versa, then we can expect the ball to be a set. However, in this case, she's just digging the ball straight up and bending the elbows backwards. So the ball will come back across the net. This is when you're able to drop off the net and cover the space to defend and like pass a free ball. However, because it's like last minute things and like middles have a lot of responsibilities, um, as liberos and also as setters and opposites, we need to be ready to support our middles because if this ball is a bit more over the net, Amy kills that ball and we just push it down on their side of the court. However, it's gone a bit too far back and it's just dropped on the floor. So it's not an individual sport, is we're all working together to deal with scenarios that are coming towards us. Yeah, so both as a middle and
So,
a, yeah, go for it.
Liam, sorry, because
Yeah.
I actually remember that ball interestingly enough, and I was like, I think I would have had the time to go for it, and I didn't commit 100%. In those cases, should I commit? Should I really go for it? And it
Yeah,
doesn't matter that I get the first ball.
100%. You just commit onto the ball and we play out of system. Because we can set out of system, but we just definitely do not want the ball to drop on the floor, like it did here. Uh, so if you can see something happening and you trust your gut, it's better to just commit onto the ball and take the ball. Even if it's like super obvious as a setter that the ball's coming to you and it's a free ball, sometimes you just take it and you take the ball intentionally and you pass well to the lib so that the lib can do a good set. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I
Okay.
just need to, yeah, be loud, committed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to play defense as a setter. Okay, again, this is why I covered the other two passes because this one is honestly is it's like perfect. It's like perfect pass. Um, we got our knee behind the ball. We got our platform is fully extended and solid, and you drop the inside shoulder. So again, like take some time to warm up into it, but it's always going to be the fundamentals that will help you get the result that you want. So if you struggling with passing, just think about the key things that we cover in passing in training, because this is like a really great pass. Okay, so we are currently on setter on 5. Just keep in mind um, that you can come all the way up to Angel's right foot. So you can come to around here, because this can be like the difference between getting to the ball and stable, or chasing the ball and doing a set that isn't as optimal for the hitters. And yeah, they also picked up on it as well, um, because you're backcourt and you kind of try to contest the ball over the net. It's illegal, and the refs just missed it. But they pick it up quite soon, I think. Yeah, again, we're backcourt, so we want to push up all the way to here. Okay, good use of the pipe for this pass. It's probably the easiest choice here, and it was a good set. I think this one's just unfortunate, I think. Not too much to talk about for that one. Okay, so it's the same thing as before. We did win the point, but we have to talk about these things. There's never any scenario where we want to be like digging the ball and we're like on area. Where's my finger working? Okay, so we never want to be passing the ball, and Cat, as a setter, you're still kind of like on area like 3 or 4. Um, you want to again get to 2 as close as possible. Even if you run to 2 and have to run all the way back here, that's just what you'll do, because you never want to have your only options being middle or you back set to 4. We always want to be in a position where we can face towards 4 and square off to the antenna and do a much easier set.
Just to chime in a little bit there, in terms of setting decision, uh, I would say since you're already in that scenario, it would have been a lot easier if you just set the 10 ball to Linda, because you're already facing in her direction and it would be a straightforward set for you rather than trying to force it to the outside.
Yeah, because this set was a very good fix by Sylvia. So I do agree with that sentiment from Gary. You always want to go for like the simple, easy options if offense isn't our problem. Okay, so this first touch is really good, especially considering that the ball clipped the net and there's like good height on the ball. However, I'm not sure what your like mental was here, like if you think that we can't follow up on this ball because it's definitely high enough for someone to get a second touch. Um, if we're playing defense and we get a touch is not optimal, we have to trust our team to cover us, and then we need to recognize where the ball is after we've defended and move away from the ball so that someone can come and have the space to control the ball. So even though we have like two players here to get the next touch, we're physically occupying the space that is needed to control the ball. And it's okay to give free balls to the other team because we can block, we can play defense, we can potentially get another chance to attack. It's always fine to give free balls, but if we're kind of like giving up on the point, then we never get that opportunity.
Don't be afraid to literally roll out the way. I've had scenarios like that where I pick up a ball and I know it's kind of near up at the top of me, and I'm literally rolling away on the floor to get out of the way for people.
Yeah, need to find that footage. Okay, this point is a bit of an odd one. Um, if, on paper it feels like it's just an overpass. However, when I like rewatched the footage a few times, so we've got our position here, Cat, where we're at the net, which is good. Um, but then the moment the pass happens, and it's a tough pass considering everything we've mentioned before with like the venue. This ball is going back to like where you were, because we like drifted off the net a bit rather than like trusting our team to get the ball to us. It's okay to move as a setter, but the moment that someone is controlling the ball, we need to be still. We can't be like moving towards them, if that makes sense. We need to like get to where we can get to. We stop, we watch the form of the pass, and then we move. Because this ball is one that was good, but now it's like it's an overpass and you have to chase it. And the only thing you can do is like a tip. Okay, so this is good pressure at the net. So when we go up and contest tight passes like this, uh, your presence is felt by the opponent setters. So in this case, they may want to like tip the ball, but may whether it is because of you or not, they try to set the ball and then they made an error. So if you see overpasses in the game, generally it's good to try and like contest them as a blocker. Okay, so that last one's just a bit unfortunate. The footage is a bit bad. I can't really hear the communication very clearly. Um, do you remember in the moment? Part of me feels like Sylvia called the ball first, but I don't want to make any like judgment calls for this. But if someone calls the ball that isn't the setter and they're already underneath the ball, um, it's okay for them to set the ball because if you try to take the ball from them because they're within the space to control the ball, you can't actually get a good set and do something with it. So often at times, if someone does call the ball and takes it from you, it's okay to just let them like set the ball. Okay, do we have any like comments or questions so far for the first set? Take the silence as a no.
So
Okay.
No, other than saying that we played well, I think, apart from the beginning. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad set. Um, we are a bit of like a slow starting team, and then we get into it, and then we start like closing the gap. But because of how we started, it's really hard for us to take the first set. Um, so again, when we got games, it's really important to stay warm and get a good warm up, which we've covered before, and then focus on the fundamentals. And the first set is always about like fixing our own issues rather than focusing too much on how they're playing. But it wasn't a bad set at all, and it translated into our second set, which was also quite a strong performance. Okay, so I'm not sure what happened here. We maybe lost our focus a bit between sets. However, from the serve, we didn't move into our position. And Angel's staying here a bit on the right side. Maybe playing like too much setter in other sessions. But yeah, at least we were able to cover this situation happening here.
the goal was slippery.
Yeah, this is definitely like your foot's literally slipping, which is why like I don't want to scrutinize too much this game because I know what it's like to play in this sort of scenario. Um, however, if it was like any other game, if we're getting a situation where we're like defending the deep corner, um, this ball is a bit of a roll. I wouldn't call it a free ball, but it's controllable. And this sort of ball, we need to start opening up towards the net a bit earlier, um, because like that's a good ball to set. However, in this case, like it's just dropping on the floor. So just trust the
So
defense and like move into position to set.
yeah, so Liam, that's my question, right? With those balls that are difficult, what I would do is stay close to that person who's digging the ball because, when we got that hard ball, we're saying, don't push it too far from you, stay close, and someone will come in and help you. And since I'm the one beside, so I can't remember exactly this point, but I'm guessing what I was like, I can't move too far from her because I need to support her. But that meant that I'm not in position for the set. So what's the best, what do I just trust? And but then what happens if she does give that pull that's, close to her high, trying to hope someone gets it?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, um, when it's like serve receive as a setter, um, one key thing to do is to like read the form of the people on your team, like your passers. Just how, just like how we read the form of our opponents, it's important for you as a setter to do the same for your teammates, because it can give you an idea of like how well the ball will be controlled. Um, this ball, Yui moved quite well, and she's taken the ball with like a good platform behind the ball, and you need to recognize this and try and open up to the net a bit more. If you see that the spike is harder and they're really reaching for the ball, like they're not getting a clean contact, or like it's a volley where they don't have their body weight behind the ball. Like sometimes you can recognize when someone is going to like do a bad pass, and those are the ones where you're right, where you can like stay close and support. But other than that, we want to be trusting our team to play well. Uh, and like I've said before, if someone is responsible for a ball and they make a mistake, it's just their mistake to make. You need to be ready to like do your part as well. So if there's like a free ball and the outside like leaves it for the libero and the libero shanks the ball, for example, that's just the libero's mistake to make. We can't be constantly like covering each other too much, if that makes sense.
Advice, like as a setter, for example, if you know that, okay, I see that it's over my head, I'm clearly not defending. What do I do? I run to my position. Is that an advice that you're trying to say, or?
From personal experience,
Mhm,
yes. If you've
mhm,
ever seen me play, whenever there's a ball that goes over my head, I immediately turn around and start running to the net because
mhm,
I know for one, I'm not going to get that ball because it's going over me
Mm.
anyway, and two,
mhm.
you need to trust in your team that they're going to give you a good pass, rather than worrying too much about what your teammates are doing or what they're going to do. It's more important that you focus on playing your role and let your teammates focus on playing their role. So when a situation where like this is going over the setter's head, and your team does a good pass, you need to, they've done their role. You need to do your role and get that set.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say this pass is like tight. It's like in a good spot to set this ball.
Yeah, worst case scenario would be you do move to the net and then your outside does mess up the pass,
Yeah,
then you would need to run back towards to help them. But that's still a more favorable situation, I would say, than you not moving to the net soon enough
mm,
and then you can't get to the ball at all because then you're chasing sort of behind you rather than if they were to mess up the pass, you can still turn around and go. You're still moving forward to the ball in that sense.
yeah. It's like I said, it's not really a free ball, but it's kind of like a roll shot. But if it was a free ball, we would open up to the net in this situation, and it's kind of the same in this instance. Um, and again, like if you leave someone to defend the ball and they do a bad pass, it's just on them to like fix it afterwards. And like if people are not doing their role and like not playing well, and you feel like you have to start covering them, it's kind of in the opposite direction of what we want to do as a team. You want to focus on your role as like setter, lib, outside, middle, and then if someone's like performing really poorly on like the area 6 defense, then it's my responsibility to like make some changes as a coach. So yeah, in this case, just to wrap it up, um, it would be better for you to open up to the net and get ready to set rather than um, being ready to help. But that involves like learning how to read our passes as well. So which what I mentioned before, like does it look like they've got the right technique and like form to pass the ball? Are they like really struggling to get to the ball? And then if you can like recognize what's going on, then you know what the right approach is to the situation. So yeah, yeah, it's good that we had this scenario like straight after. Um, it's good here that you open up to the net, and then like if someone does a poor pass, then that's when we start like communicating and like fixing it afterwards. And like if you can get to this ball and then we just pop it up and someone gives a free ball, then that's completely okay as well. It's just unlucky. Okay, so for this hit, um, I think from Amy she did okay. Um, she pressed like slightly late, but it was more than enough for us as a team to like start the sequence between block and ground defense. So because Amy's got a good block and like shadow formed into the court, I'd say for this scenario we're a bit too far behind the block Angel. So we want to be shaping around uh, the blocker's defense. So whether you go more to your left and you try and take more of like area 5, or if you go more towards area 1, it would be better. So in this case, the ball did go towards area 1, but if you did go to the left of Amy and more into area 5 and the ball just went in the other place, that's just unfortunate. But we don't want to be in a scenario where we're like behind the blockers.
Are Angela and myself too close on that one, Liam, or are we where we should be?
I think for you two is completely fine. Yeah.
Okay.
It would be bad if Angela was like closer to the net. Um, but if we're defending middle, the opposite or setter, and then outside, we need to be ready to get like tips in like this sort of area. And then often at times with middle, this ball can just come at your face, and you just defend with a volley. And if it does go over your head, it would be the outside's ball. Um, this one did land like quite close to the baseline, so it is a little bit unfortunate, but in terms of just like the discipline between block and ground defense, we want to be able to shape around the block more effectively. Okay. This is just unfortunate block out, but hopefully Amy watches this. So we see this scenario where um, their middle just blocks and they've got their back to the net, and they're even signaling to their setter to set outside. So in this scenario, we don't have to wait for the set and move. We can move a lot earlier, and then this could be the difference between blocking them like straight down or like the block touch, which happen. Okay, so we had one really good pipe set earlier in the game. This one is uh, too far back away from the line, and we can see that Angel had to stop her approach. And if anything, like she had to like go backwards a bit, which makes it really hard to like hit behind the ball and get like power into the ball. And yeah, hopefully Amy watches this because we don't need to block when our teammates are hitting. It's quite funny.
I think she's trying to screen.
Screening this pipe, yeah, that's advanced level techniques. Okay, yeah, so this set was much better than the one before. And it just comes from like squaring off to where you want the ball to go and then um, not pushing the ball too far back. We get a massive block. I think after this one, it started happening a lot.
Sorry, Liam.
Yeah.
You just go back to that pipe.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just wanted to see Angel's approach. It's a good save from you as well.
Same thing from set one. It's okay to try and get the ball much higher and towards the antenna. And if you just send the ball flying past the antenna and it goes out, then we adjust inwards. It's the same thing that we do when we're like playing center. We always want to try and get as close to where we can and then dial it backwards. So this set fell really short.
Yeah, I think I was doing the opposite, where I was trying not to push it too far off the antenna. So I was more conscious because I think I did it twice. That was the first one. I can remember doing it again.
Yeah. So with the sets that fall really short, it would the result if we're fixing it would be like a free ball. But if the ball is pushed quite far and it's like tight, then if we can't hit it and if we're not making like the error, then the result would be most likely the tip, which is much harder for them to defend.
Okay.
So we would favor towards getting the ball as close to the hitter as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
It's 2 blocks now. It's massive. Okay, so this is the same as the middle from earlier. So we can see that we're a bit too far behind Pauline here. Yeah. A good general rule of thumb is if you see your middle, you want to have like 1 arm's length to the left of like their space. So I've got like a cool little tool here. Okay, can you see this? This red line?
No. No.
You can't see it.
I know.
Okay. I was hoping that would work, but I guess not. But you can draw a line from like Pauline's right shoulder uh, for the path the ball can take, and then you want to be 1 arm's length away from um, that ball. So if I draw this and then take a screenshot.
It's okay, Liam. Take your time.
Okay, can you see this in the general chat? Just quickly.
Yep.
Okay. So if you can like extend your arm fully out to the left, that's where you want to be like touching that line almost. Or like where you would control your platform. So just inside your forearm, you would have that space.
Okay.
Okay, nice. So that was a great pass and a really good hit as well. could serve. Okay, so for this ball, we can see the set was quite poor and the approach was quite poor as well. Um, so this sort of hit, they're only ever going to hit cross across the court and like straight from their body. They're never going to be able to hit towards like area 1 or 6 without like an extremely high likelihood of making an error. So if we see that their posture is like this and you're assuming that they're just hitting straight, we want to place ourselves as like liberos and the outsides on the left of where they are facing, uh, so that the ball is more likely to come to us. Um, so in this case, you can see here, Mitra, you're a little bit on the right of the hitter, whereas in this case, you could push up more towards like the sideline and Fumita line.
Is that one going out?
Hmm?
Is that one going out? I think it was at the end.
Um, let's see. Potentially, it's close. It's a hard one to call. Um, but again, if we're in the right spot, it makes it a bit easier to judge that as well. Uh, Regardless of everything that happened, you got the ball up and it just hit this like annoying thing in the ceiling.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I think that was a great up, actually. Just
Mm.
unlucky with this venue.
Okay, I know Yuri's not here at the moment, but generally, I would like for everyone, if we're ever in a situation where we need to tip the ball, uh, we're using our like fingers and fingertips more than like the pokey like beach tip, uh, because it just gives us more control on the ball. So this is the same for like whether it's middle, outside, or like a setter tipping overpass. And we'll try it in training as well, but I'd like for everyone to tip more with the open hand rather than like the closed fist. Nice. Another block. It's 3 blocks now. Nice, good up. I think that one was very close. Just unlucky for the net touch. Okay, I will speed it up a little bit because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Okay, so in this instance, there's 2 things. One is the setting decision. We just had a block on the left, and Amy is still like transitioning, and she's just about ready to approach. However, in this case, it'd be a lot easier to just sit outside um, for this pool. Also, keeping in mind that like Amy's shoulder health is quite poor at the moment, and her attacking effectiveness is a bit lower. Uh, just from those 2 things alone, it would be better to just set Angel in this scenario. And hopefully, when Amy watches this, it's okay to tip like across the body rather than trying to force everything like away. Because when you're like chasing the ball and it's going to the left, and you try to make the ball go down to the left, it's very hard to like keep the correct height on the ball, and you're more likely to make an error. So it's okay to like cut the ball off from the left of the ball and then push it to the right. Okay, that was just unlucky. I think that was one of their only like clean hits throughout the whole game.
That was a clear net touch.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
is that?
they definitely
What's she
touched the net.
complaining about?
Yeah,
Not only that, on her way down, look at that
She's
net.
just grabbing the net.
Yeah, and look at it. She's literally
And just saying
grabbing
like
the net.
no.
Yeah,
The second ref called it as well.
yeah.
From what I got in my notes, there's not too much left in this set, other than what unfortunately happened at the end of this set. So we're like scrambling for the ball here. Okay, one, this defense is insane. This is a really good touch. However, on the next one, or the one after, yeah, here, we've got one more touch here. And I know you've like mentioned it and talked about it as well. Uh, so there's not really too much to say other than like trying to keep your head in the game and like staying focused. But other than that, it's just unfortunate, really.
Yeah, that was so annoying. Sorry, guys.
It's unlucky. It's okay. I think that's why communication is key, because usually we shout one more, we say
Yeah,
one more pass,
yeah,
or
like
like last.
last.
I always say last
Yeah,
ball.
I say last as well.
I always
Um,
say last ball.
for the third set, the impending doom of the third set, um, I'm just gonna skip through to where I've like written some stuff down to talk about. Where was it? Okay. Don't worry about the mistake. It's fine. This is maybe gonna get like very technical, but I hope it is helpful for you. Um, in this sort of serve receive like position, we've got all of our weight on our left leg with the heel on the floor, and then we've got uh, our right leg like on our toes. And from what I've seen, you're like right leg favored, which is fine. However, when you've got all your weight on your left leg, whenever you try to like move into the position to get the lunge position, it's very difficult or like almost impossible for you to push off your left leg in this scenario. So we're lifting the right leg up to relieve the left leg, and then we can get into the lunge position. Um, but it's too many movements to try and do in like such a short space of time. Um, at the start of the season, one of the things we covered in training was to move forwards, you got to go backwards first, and the same thing with like sideways and like in other directions. Um, the key thing is to try not to put all of your weight onto one leg. It's okay to have a staggered leg position, which you did, but try to like stay on your toes and not put any weight like on your heel. If your heel is touching the floor, in sports where you need to move in like multiple directions, it's gonna like slow you down a lot. Um, so I'm sure like what you're doing here is like not conscious. It's just your body adjusting for the fact that you can't move optimally. So we're moving the right leg so that we can move our left, if that makes sense. And it's just a little bit too slow. and like half a second can be the difference between passing the ball well or like making a mistake. So if we cover it
Yeah.
in training, or if you like spend time in the gym, um, just get used to like the movements, and like trying to break your habits, um, because it, like I said, it's okay to be one leg dominant, but we need to be comfortable uh, passing with our weight on our left and our right leg. Um, and if in many instances it's actually better to lunge with the left so that we can take the ball and move it across our body to the right.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Because I always think that I'm moving too slow, and that's why I'm always diving unnecessarily.
Mhm.
Um, if I try and stay on two toes, I feel like I'm gonna topple over. So I think that's why I'm kind of leaning on my heel. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'll try and work on it.
you don't need to like exaggerate it and be like on your tiptoes as long as y your body weight is over the ball of your foot and your heel is like slightly raised, you'll be able to like step off both of your feet.
Okay, got
Okay, and I think the last one. Okay, so we've got a scenario here where the ball just drops on the floor on serve receive, and this is like a perfect example to talk about uh, system passing. We've always like hinted at it through games and like training, talking about seams, like passing left seam or passing right seam. Um, just to define it in the best possible way. In this scenario where we've got the front row outside hitter on the left, the best thing to do is to pass left seam. So in this case, uh, if you watch the ball, it would be Angel's ball in this scenario. However, um, since you've moved first, Mitra, I would want you to just commit onto the ball and like go into the space and try and pass the ball as well as you can, like how you know how to pass, like with your knee behind the ball, platform underneath and behind the ball, and drop the shoulder and just finish strong. Because from this serve where they're serving, as a passer myself, it looks like it's coming to you and then it just doesn't. It like comes across your body and then goes to the person next to you. So even though it's Angel's ball, it's better for you to just commit and finish the pass so that it just doesn't drop on the floor. Um, I'm sure because you see that Angel is like also ready and moves as well. That's like the hesitation where the ball drops on the floor. So uh, if this happens, uh, if Angel is going to recognize that the ball is hers, um, and we'd want to communicate Angel to call the ball, and then Mitra backs off and lets Angel take the ball. But if you're both committing onto the same ball, whoever moves first has the priority to take the space to control the ball. And then if Angel is still going, then you go and then you literally go behind Mitra and you have your platform as if you were going to pass the ball. But and then if Mitra backs off, then you're still there. But if the pass is not good, then you're ready to like support your teammate and get the next touch. Um, sounds complicated, and we'll talk about it in training again, because we definitely need to start doing this like left seam, right seam passing. After this, there wasn't really anything else for me to say about this set. Um,
Can
if
I
it,
ask you a question?
yeah, of course.
So I think in the last set, so I personally was quite frustrated, and I feel like I'm so this is kind of different from what I've learned before, and that is in terms of the defense position,
Hmm.
we should have a bit kind of like a U shape, but then like we're more like in a line. Do
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like Blasta, Mitra, and I are both like on the same line.
hmm,
And I think supposedly like like if I'm in Blasta's position, I would be at around the 3 meter line and not be this back. And we had this rotation error. Like we lost one with the point because I was a little bit in front of Blasta. So
yeah,
like I just want to know like if like for the outsides, I know that I'm supposed to be behind Blasta
hmm,
when we are in this rotation. But then like we all have our habits and I don't really know like in terms of the situation because I would rather be a little bit more forward, but like because the ball can be very short and I can get it.
yeah,
But then like I'm also scared because I cannot be in front of Lhasa.
yeah.
So then yeah, like I'm a little frustrated at that point because
Okay,
of like the startup.
okay. So it's definitely right what you're saying. However, the main thing that I want to say is uh, this rule with the rotation where the back row outside hitter can't be in front of the front row hitter. As far as I'm aware, that rule has not been in effect. Like the rules got changed quite some time ago, where that shouldn't matter anymore. Um, because you're not like directly across from each other on the rotation sheet. You're like diagonal, I think. I think Gary, we talked about this, right? Um,
So if this happens again, Liam, can I go up to the ref and say, sorry, ref, I disagree.
yeah,
This rule is no longer in
Yeah,
existence.
yeah,
yeah. If you're diagonal to each other, so if Angel's starting position is at 1 and Vlas is at 4,
mm,
you are not adjacent to each other, so you have no direct correlation with each other. So it shouldn't matter whether either of you are in front or behind each other. It's only the people that you are directly adjacent with that affects what your
yeah,
position is.
yeah. So a good example of that is like when the setter is on 6 and the opposite is on 3, you two like bunch up together at the net, and then if you are on the wrong side of each other, that is a rotation fault. But because Vlaster is on 4 and Angel you're on 1, it shouldn't matter at all where you are, uh, whether you're in front or behind of each other. Like that rule is old and it's been changed. Um, and this ref should not have called it. And considering he called this one but not all the other rotation errors, like it's a bit annoying. Um, but so that definitely is one thing. You can go and talk to the refs about that. Uh, as far as I'm aware, I think it got changed like 3 years ago at least. Um, with the outsides now being able to be in line with each other. Uh, but the last one with the U shape, um, I think for serve receive, it's always better to be in like a straight line or like slightly shifted according to where um, the server is serving from. So if the server is like on 1, it would be more of this like diagonal kind of, not like a full U shape, but like a soft like curve. Can you see my mouse? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so it would be more like this, but it wouldn't be like a V that we do in like base uh, defense, where there's like 2 in the middle and 1 getting the deep ball. It'd be more like a flat line. Does that answer like your question?
Mm, so it depends on where uh, the person serves. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, a little
Like,
bit. Let me. Okay, I'm going to.
so we will shift. We will shift based on where the person serves.
Yeah. Let me just restart my screen share so I can draw and I can show you. Okay, can you see my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the server is serving from here, it could one you can just do like a flat line, and that is okay. But depending on their serve, you can do more of like this sort of shape, like a U. Because if they're serving short, you can like get into this space here, which is what you said you wanted to do. But
Yeah,
you're worried
and I was
about
afraid
the
because
rule.
we got called on the rotation error.
Yeah, but that ref is like kind of messing around a bit.
Yeah.
But if
So moving forward, Angel, don't hesitate to do it, and then I'll go to the ref and say, sorry, that's no longer a rule. You shouldn't be calling that rotation error.
yeah,
Okay?
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
if
Can
the
you,
server was more on this side, it would be something more like this. Well, that was really bad actually. Something more like this, where the front row outside would be here.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But generally speaking, um, we don't have players that are like purposefully going for like the short serve. So we'd normally just do the flat line, and then if it's a really short serve, everyone just moves up. So in the friendly game, um, the other day when it was like getting close to match point, I asked everyone to like just all step up together because the serves were going short.
Mm, okay,
Okay,
thank you.
okay, so that's it really for all of the games. I'm sorry it like went on for so long again, and I hope it's useful. But yeah, the main takeaways for this game is honestly don't let it get to you so much. Like it was a really tough loss, I think, but we had to work around so many issues with this court, and it just makes us lose our confidence in our ability to like move to the ball and control the ball. But if we are able to do that, I'd say the biggest takeaway from the game um, would actually be the like setter serve receive transition and opening up for the like free ball and defense, um, just so that we can get better chances to score points because we were hitting quite well, and like we've worked on a lot of the like hitting problems we had before in other games. So now we want to enable our hitters to like hit the ball as comfortably as possible. Um, I'm not sure if you remember, Kat, the drill we did uh, for setters opening up from backcourt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd
yeah.
really appreciate doing that again.
Okay.
It was really an eye opener for me, this looking, because even when I'm not necessarily not in place, I tend to go around that central location, which yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not sure what's happening. Is it because I
Yeah.
don't trust my teammates to push the ball into
Mm.
two? I don't know. I need to analyze and see what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
It's always best to get to where you can, and then if the passes are not reaching to you, it's on you and also me to like try and encourage our passers to get the ball as close to area two as possible. But we never want to be in a scenario where we're setting the ball from like area three with only like one option and setting the ball in the unoptimal way. We always want to be like squared off to the antenna, and then if we are moving, we're either moving parallel along the net, or we're like coming off the net and never having to go like towards the net. I think for this game, we did miss quite a few serves. We've had worse serving performances before, so it wasn't too bad. But I think it's still a little bit more than I would like to see in a game, for our serving success rate. Um, but it wasn't like bad misses. It wasn't like serves like into the net. It was like serves going um, out the court at the back, which is honestly better than in the net. Um, in terms of me not being there for the game, if there's ever a scenario where you have an away game again, um, of course it'd be great to have Gary to come and help. But for Gary and for everyone else, try to think about like the common themes that I often talk about during timeouts and coaching. It's always going to be like fundamentals and fixing our form early on, and then it moves on to like just picking apart the opponent and adjusting to them to the point where they can't do anything and they just lose. Um, so like, where are their strengths and weaknesses? Like, how do we identify their strong areas of the game and their weak areas of the game? Like, do they have like one good hitter, like maybe two good hitters? Like, where are they on the court? And then it becomes about like when they are front court, we need to know where they're hitting. Like, do they tip often? Do they hit line or cross? And we have to like think about these things in the game, and it's better to adjust early rather than too late. And when their strong hitters are backcourt, for us it becomes about it comes to becoming more conservative and playing smart. And it's okay to give free balls because all their hitting power is not in a position where they can be used unless they start hitting pipe. So it's okay to give free balls and then just play defense and then re-attack again, because we are a great attacking team. Our offense is honestly like better than like maybe all of the teams that we've faced so far. And then for like weaknesses, like who on their team is like not a great passer? Like, do we have a serving target? Can someone like not move very well, or is their technique quite poor? Um, if not, if they're all passing well, then we just serve to like the left side of the court so that it's hard to set to the outside, like their strong hitter. And then the game just starts getting like quite easy. So just try and think about the game as a whole. I know it's hard when you're consumed with the game. So that's where like Gary, you would like think about these things, but we have to as players start trying to see the game in the bigger picture, even when we're in the middle of like digging the ball, setting the ball, hitting and playing defense. We need to recognize when someone shanks a ball on their side and then do something about it. Um, but yeah, that's it really. Thank you for joining, everyone. I hope it was helpful. Um, are there any like final questions or like comments anyone would like to add?
We have a game on Friday. Are we gonna have any preparation before then? Because we don't have any training.
Uh, so Friday,
Mm.
it's a away game and versus Inter, right?
Yeah.
In terms of prep, I'll do some prep with like the availability, and then I'll talk with Gary. But really, for you ladies, it's about um like just finding your confidence and taking away from the friendly game that we just played as a reminder that we can play well, and if we make mistakes, then we just move on and then we try and play well, because we're never going to win a game like 21-0, right? We're always going to drop some points, and it's okay to drop points. We just need to lock in and just stay positive and stay aggressive and focus on like passing and just moving well. For prep, I guess try and be on time and maybe like a bit early so that we can warm up properly. I think their venue is
It's at
quite far.
Mulberry.
Mulberry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if
So
people can get there early, it would be good because there are seating areas upstairs, and you can start, doing some light stretching up there.
Yeah. Mulberry does get quite cold.
Mm.
So if you want to take like some extra base layers or something, that would be a good idea as well.
so I know this is not about prepping, but we should go and have a drink afterwards.
Yes,
Yeah, lots of places near Mulberry.
definitely.
I'll
It's
come
a
from
Friday too.
training and join you if you're getting drinks.
Yeah, because
Nice.
we're gonna win the game, so we have to celebrate.
Yeah.
Exactly. I like it.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Liam and Gary.